Hello, this is Hyunsa and Hiju, and this is Careers in Audio. First, I'll talk about the music topic. For music, we investigated orchestral musicians. They play in an orchestra or they fill up as a part time musician. The job availability depends on whether the orchestra needs someone for the instrument, but there will always be gigs here and there. Their annual income varies from roughly US dollars 35,000 to 150,000 and depending on years of experience and the orchestra you're in. You can also work part-time and get paid around Canadian dollars $200 for per concert. You can do gigs and get paid at least $100 per hour. For this job, you will need at least a bachelor or even a master's degree in music performance. I will also talk about the microphone techniques you can use when you're recording a flute performance. The flute is one of those instruments with a polar pattern with character. So the first way to do it is placing the microphone approximately 5 to 10 centimeters away from the instrument, as the first picture shows. You will aim the mic halfway between the mouthpiece and the left hand. But breathing can be a problem in this position, so using an omnidirectional mic which has a low sensitivity to wind noises will help. Another way to do it is, due to its polar character, the flute can also be spot mic behind and slightly above the head of the player, as the picture in the middle shows, and the mic will point at the finger holes. In fact, in an overdub situation, a myriad of places around the head yield very good balance. The last way to handle an overdub situation is try miking the flute from the front with a vertical elevation at head level and about a meter away. This noticeably reduces mechanical sounds.
Boom operators are responsible for placing the microphone in the best position without impeding camera operation or hampering actors' freedom to perform. Clear dialogue is expected by cinema audience, and this is usually achieved by placing microphones suitably close to the actors saying their line. Boom operator assist the production sound mixer and operate the boom microphone, which is either handheld on a long arm or dolly mounted on a moving platform. Operating a boom mic and carrying equipment can be physically demanding, so these crew members should be physically fit. This job, the average salary for boom mic operator in Hollywood is US $36,000 as of September 2013, which is approximately 3% higher than the average salary of boom operator throughout the country. Founding work in television and film is competitive. A good strategy for breaking in is to volunteer on a non-union shoot. This way you can get experience handling the equipment. Another way to gain knowledge and make contact in the field is to formally study film and television at a trade school or university.
So the third job we found in the topic of live and location sound is orchestral sound designer. Orchestral sound designer records orchestras during their concert. They should have knowledge of sound engineering, microphone placement, and basic understanding of what the orchestral music should sound like. They need to communicate with the conductor and find out what the conductor wants the music to sound in the recording. Since they work freelance, their income can vary, but an average of an audio engineer's salary is $49,000 Canadian, according to PayScale. For the first 5 to 10 years in this position, salary increases somewhat, but any additional experience does not have a big effect on pay. I will also briefly talk about how they mic an orchestra. So the distance to the orchestra and the height of the microphones above the floor level should be adjusted for equal coverage of the different orchestra sections and for the amount of ambience required in the recording. Usually, the optimum position is above or right behind the conductor's podium, as shown in the picture, at a height between 3 and 4 meters so that no musicians obscure the instrument behind them. A good rule of thumb is if you can see the sound source, you can also hear it. Experience will show that the optimum microphone spacing is dependent on both the size of the orchestra and the reverberation time of the concert hall, so the location also matters. When increasing the number of instruments in the orchestra, the microphones need to be spaced further apart to give the listener the optimum stereo image. The microphone spacing should also be increased to improve channel separation in more reverent rooms.
Animation sound editor is usually referred to as film editor in credit, as animated film does not need the traditional functions of a film editor. They handle special sound effects. Sometimes visual is made first and then the sound is recorded, but sometimes directors prefer to have them made simultaneously in order to save time or to achieve a higher quality animation that sounds really well. In Canada, an animator approximately earns 51,000 Canadian dollars on average.
These are our sources, and thank you very much for listening.